with Carrie Vergin at Marathon County Restorative Justice in Weston, Wisconsin. And we want to talk to Carrie a little bit about how the economy lately, in the last maybe 2-3 years, has affected your nonprofit business.
Okay. Being a nonprofit, we have to find funding for our programming, and we work with juveniles that have made some mistakes in their life, and we're trying to help them be brought back into the community in good standing. And so I believe we have a very good program, and I think the county agencies and the general public like what we're doing. So I think that's the biggest thing is when I'm trying to find funding, is showing that we are having an effect with the kids that we work with and in our community as a whole. If you can prove that you're doing something worthwhile, I think funders are more likely to pass along the funds that you need to make a go of it.
Do you see juvenile crime in general being worse in the last, well, I'd say they said the recession, it was happening long before it was so-called claimed to be, but do you see crime maybe from juveniles getting younger?
Definitely we've seen an influx of younger offenders, and that may be because people are understanding that we're there to try to help and intervene.
That's a good point.
They are starting to give us referrals at an earlier date, hoping to keep them from having offenses once they hit the age of like 12, where you can actually be referred on a case. Law enforcement will refer to social services or the juvenile courts. I know lately I've seen a lot more theft than in years past. I think in the last 2 years we've seen a lot of kids like car shopping, which is just going down the street and opening doors to see what you can find in a car. So, typically there's not a lot stolen from each vehicle, but a GPS or some of those things can add up. And I've seen more theft from stores, and then they'll go into the pawn shop or something.
Right. Do you think they're more desperate type of thievery, or they're just, everybody just maybe is...
I think it may start out that way with a few kids, like they really want these items and feel they need to have them, but then when other kids see them getting away with it, it's kind of on the bandwagon kind of deal. And so I'm seeing a little bit more of that, but actually juvenile crime in Marathon County at least has subsided.
Restorative justice, what is that?
Restorative justice is, well, it's a philosophy. It's not really a program, but it's working together with victims, offenders, and the community as a whole, trying to restore some sense of normalcy. When a youth makes a poor decision and offends somebody,
you get the call, your phone rings.
Yeah, we get a call and they say, we would like to have this team meet with you, and I will meet with the team and we'll go over 4 questions. What happened? What you were thinking or feeling at the time, who all has been affected by your actions, and what are you willing to do to make things better? And
this is early in their, let's say, a 10-year-old. This could be a call about a 10-year-old?
This could be, yes. No. Yes, we've had as young as 2nd grade. Typically our kids are in the ages of 12 to 16. Right. And then we also do take 17 and 18-year-olds. But if I see that the child has, is sorry for what they've done, they realize, boy, I really screwed up, I wasn't thinking, and there's remorse there, I will then contact the victim and ask them if they would like to meet with this offender.
Wow.
And then I ask them those same 4 questions. What happened? What were you thinking or feeling at the time, and since? Who all has been affected on your end?
Instead of what? Instead of like a referral to the court?
If it goes to the court is mainly just looking to get some reimbursement for the victim, but really it's our legal system, it's a crime against the state or a crime against the municipality.
And not against the person.
And the kids aren't really understanding, you've offended somebody.
Right.
You have to make amends and figure out a way to make things right. Whereas in the court, you'll maybe see a fine and maybe some community service or something like that. But with kids, and if the victim is open to it, we can bring the 2 together and they can decide how this case is going to end. And they come up with an agreement, and that may be just an apology, or it could be an apology and some community service, or service to the victim.
Like an example would be maybe somebody breaking some mailboxes.
Yeah.
You getting a call.
We get a call, and the team would maybe have to purchase a new mailbox and then help the victim re-put that.
And a lot of them will meet
together.
with their victims themselves.
Yeah, we have a good percentage of victims that are open to meeting with the teens, and you can just sense in that meeting together, the victims get a lot of their questions answered, like, what were you thinking at that time, you know, and they understand better. It's not that it's excused or necessarily even forgiven, but there is a sense of closure in a way to it. There's usually relief on the part of both parties. The offender feels like, okay, a load has been lifted, there's a way for me to make this better.
And they actually experience seeing the victims' feelings about it,
yes,
and
yes.
then hopefully feeling some remorse.
And I think that's a big key, is trying to instill some empathy in the teens that we're working together with when they see how much they've hurt this person or how it's affected them and in what ways. When you're looking eyeball to eyeball with somebody, it's really kind of hard not to follow through on any promises that you make to them in that agreement. So we have kids, about 98% of our kids follow through on the promises that they've made to the victims. So.
Now, does the community, do they play a role in any way?
They do. We do have community volunteers that help us out, and a lot of times they'll work one-on-one with the kids and doing community service or figuring, going out job searching, mentoring, exactly. Yep. And we also have a group of volunteers from the community that sit on our board, and they just
from all sections of the community.
All sections of the community, service providers, and just everyday citizens.
It's a little bit like that picture here, that example. It shows everybody working for the, in the circle with a little support system.
Yes.
Yes. Do you worry? Will I have enough funds next year already?
Yes. Right now we have a contract that is fairly stable through the end of next year, but at the end of next year, if funding is not available through the county, I'm going to be
pretty busy for a while.
Yes, yes.
How many people are here? How many social workers?
We have two other besides myself. One is a Hmong facilitator, and so he works with a lot of our Hmong population in the area. And then Paula works with me also. So there's three of us, and the majority of our funds go towards our pay, actually, because we are so service-oriented. We're working one-on-one with kids. We're spending a lot of time with them, mentoring. When the agreement is made, we don't just drop it there and say, okay, this is what's expected of you. We come alongside of that child or that teen and help them to figure out, okay, how am I going to complete these promises? And we don't do it for them, but we'll come alongside of them and show them how to go. We try very hard to defer cases or catch them at a stage before they ever get into any kind of real harm. We work a lot in the schools, in the alternative schools, and try to teach kids how to communicate with each other, what to do, what's the right thing, help them to get thinking a little bit more.
Have supporters backed off a little bit in the last few years? Maybe grants that were available that are...
Yeah, we have seen that it's a lot tougher to get grant funding. And certainly with municipalities and cities, it's very difficult. Everyone is at a crunch, and pay has pretty much been frozen for the last year or so, and it will continue for this next year. That there will not be any. But one of the things that I do have to say I'm very thankful for is, Goodwill has done a wonderful job, and they've been a very big blessing to us because they've donated these 2 offices that they had open. So our office space is rent-free.
That's cool.
We talk to the area paper mills, and every 6 months or so we get a couple boxes of paper, which keeps us going. A lot of, the furniture in here and stuff was all donated from different people, so we really try to do our best with the funds that we have and be very sensitive to our community and not be spending money that we don't have.
Now, does Goodwill actually help put some of the kids to work to help pay for the victims?
Yes, they do. For kids that do need to do community service, they can do it here at Goodwill, and we get them set up downstairs in the store portion. Also, we have several community businesses and foundations have donated to a victim assistance trust fund, which kids because we don't want to just give them money or whatever, we say you're going to work for this, but this trust fund has been set up for victim assistance, and the kids will work for a minimum wage, so they can work down here or work with any other community agency in the area, and for every hour they put in, they get a minimum wage.
That's
they
cool.
They don't see the money, but the money is saved up
for the victims.
And then it goes to the victim.
Restorative justice practices started out of?
Actually, it's a very old philosophy, and a lot of it came from out of the native traditions, meeting together as a family or a tribe or a clan and working things through, and that's what we're trying to do too, is get back into the relationship end of it.
Right.
You know, we are all interconnected somehow, and we've got to figure out how to work together, to live together, to be responsible.
Try to.
Teaching.
You know,
Teaching. If we can restore,
right.
restorative justice, if we can restore that teen back into the community in good standing and try as best we can to restore the victim. Certainly you're never going to fix it to the way it was, but if we can bring that back.
Right.
Right.
Good. See, that's a good program to have in town. Thanks, Carrie. I'm glad I was able to keep you in one spot for 5 minutes. You're always going. We'll talk to you later, and thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you very much, Mike.